Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of DniceKnits. My name is Denise, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as DniceKnits515. I'd like to thank all new and returning viewers for watching, and to my family members for watching, even though they don't know anything about knitting. First things first, I got a haircut today, and I'm not used to it yet. I got a lot of layers, and I don't wear my hair straight often, so I may be messing with it a lot. But once it's curly, I think I'll like it a lot. Today I have finished projects, works in progress, and some yarn that I received. In the summer, I tend to only knit on socks because it's hot and I'm always on the go, and socks are very portable. And when it's like 90 degrees and 80% humidity, I don't like having a sweater or a shawl on my lap or a blanket on my lap. So I usually just bring socks because I can fit them in my purse, and I can knit a few rows when we're at the pool or at the library or the museum, all the places that you take your kids in the summer. So my first is a sock that I finished before I showed you before my last podcast, but I don't remember when I finished it, and I don't have it in my Ravelry notes. I don't have a Ravelry project page for it, which I will create one now, but I don't remember when I started it or finished it, but I know I finished it before the last podcast that I recorded. So what these are, my friend Sarah, who I mention almost every day, every episode, she gave me a bag of leftovers, and she gave me a lot of leftovers, and some of them had like 30 grams, a little bit more than 30 grams, some had like 20 something grams, so that's enough for socks. So for me, I would take a 30 gram leftover and a 30 gram leftover and make like a 60 gram pair of socks, and that's enough for a pretty good size cuff. So for this pair, I took a pair of my socks leftovers and a pair of Sarah's. So what I do a lot for my leftovers when I do this method of leftovers is I do the toe in the first color, and then the heel in the second color, and then the cuff, and then on the second pair I'll do the toe in the orange, and then blue, and then orange. So they're almost the same, but not. They're very similar. They're fraternal twins, right? And I also do something, I think it's called helical knitting or helix knitting, where you just drop the yarn and you pick up the yarn. You don't twist them or do anything, and it does a little bit of an indent because my gauge changes at the end of a row all the time. But on the other socks, before I started helical knitting, you could really tell where I switched. There would be like a jog almost, or you could really tell where I switched yarns. So on this sock, and most of my socks, except for two, I do Judy's Magic Cast On, yes, and 12 stitches up to 60, and then I do 65 rows on the foot, and then I do a fish lips kiss heel, and then a cuff, a leg, and then the cuff, I usually do 12 rows, and then I do a Jenny's stretchy bind off, and I do Jenny's stretchy bind off on a size 5, and it does flare out a little, but I like that it goes over my heel because I have a little bit of a high instep, so it does flare out just a little bit, but I like it. And then I whipped out my sock blockers, which I made from a placemat from the Dollar Tree. You know, you can find a template online, and I traced it out, and then I just cut it, and it fits my socks. And then, you know, I tried my socks on it, and then I trimmed it, so it fits pretty good. So that's the first finished project, but I didn't finish it this week. I finished it a while ago. I don't know when though. And then the second finished project is from my mother. So this is, once again, leftovers from Sarah. So except for the heel, the toe and the cuff, is simply, Serenity sock from Premier Serenity sock in a gray colorway. I think it's just gray. I think that's all they call it. And then this is two different pinks. One is sparkly, which you can see on this heel. See, that's sparkly. And I did the same thing where the heels are different. So this is one yarn, and this is the other yarn. See if you could see the sparkles. And I'm mad because I did have enough. I didn't do these in tandem. Usually I do my socks in tandem. Like I'll do one toe, the leg, one heel, and I'll go back and forth. But this one I didn't. And I was scared that I was gonna run out of yarn, so I did a 20 row ribbing. And I shouldn't have. I should have kept going. I should have done these in tandem because I have quite a bit left of this yarn and this yarn. So I don't think this is enough to go in my Cozy Memories blanket, but it is enough to go in my crochet blanket. So I'm gonna put this in my crochet blanket and this in my Cozy Memories, and then whatever's left of this one, I would put in my crochet blanket. I'm kind of sad because I could have gotten a bigger leg if I had done that. If I had done it in tandem, but I didn't. So that's that pair for my mom. That's one finished project. And then I said this is the summer of shorty socks, and I've only made 2 pairs of shorty socks. So I declared too early about that. So here is my second pair of shorty socks. This is from Sarah again. She gave me just yarn that she thought I would like. So it is Red Heart and Soul in the Razzle Dazzle colorway. So I have this one, and it's still attached to the yarn because I didn't cut it. So I have this one and this one. And this one, if you remember, is the one I messed up. And I only had 54 stitches on the needle. And I finished it so quick, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I finished it so quickly. And that's because I only had 54 instead of 60 stitches. And then I did 20 rows before I did the bind off. And this only, I think I have like 48 grams. So I have all this left over because I was scared I was gonna run out. So I stopped at 20. And I have a weird thing about that. Like I like to stop on an even number. So it has to be like 20 or 10 or 30, except sometimes it'll be 65 or 75 or 15. It can be half of, it could be a 5 or a 10. And that's it. If it's like 68, sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I could do 70. I guess 68 is okay, but not usually. Usually I'll go to 70 or, yeah, so I'm weird. And I have to have even numbers. Like it has to be 62, 64, and because the heel you have to do on half. And I don't know if you can do a heel on like 33 stitches. I'm sure I have. I'm sure I've messed up and done it on 33 stitches, but you're supposed to do it on half. So that is finished project number 3. And so I have finished project number 4. Well, that's a lie, because I've only finished 2 pairs. The other pair was done before I podcast last time. So I'm not that much of a fast knitter, but I have been knitting a lot lately. I'm not playing on my phone as much, although Instagram is such a trap. I'll just be on Instagram and be like, what am I doing? I've been on Instagram for an hour. God. So this is a ramble. Sorry. So last time I was on this is my 3rd pair that is done this week that I finished. So last week I had shown you this pair of socks that I was on. I was here and I finished up here, and when I went to go get them, I thought I finished this, but I did not. I still have the needle in there as usual. I don't know why I leave the needle in and I think I'm done, and then I go pick it up and I have to bind off. And binding off doesn't take that long, but I didn't bind off. So I did that. And these, I think I might give to my mom. I might, because pink is my mom's favorite color, and I think I've only given her like 4 pairs of socks. So with that pair that I finished before, so that's 5, and then this might be 6. And I have, I think another 3 balls of, oh, sorry, this is Footsies, which is wool, silk, cotton, and chinton. Can't say that word. And I think there's like 40 grams left, so I think I might be able to do shorty socks out of this for myself if I do them in tandem, or maybe change the heel and use a different different yarn. So I had this one last time, 2 weeks ago, and I was right here and I finished all that, and I think there's 50 rounds, 60 rounds, and then 12 rows of ribbing. And then I did this complete whole sock and I cut the yarn. So this one is all done, and I have the stitch markers marking every 10 rows, which are hard to see in this yarn. And I thought it was going to pool badly but it didn't. I kind of like it. It kind of looks like animal print almost. And then another thing I do, because I'm different, I guess, is this is an egg, right? I think I got this at Michael's on clearance, and I just added an earring hook on it because it makes it like a progress keeper or a stitch marker if you use, or a crochet too. Yeah, I guess I could use it in crochet too because it's a, it's a earring clasp. And then this one is bacon, so it's bacon and eggs on my pair of socks. So I like to do that if I put a progress keeper on it. And now that I have this podcast, I tend to put a progress keeper so I remember where it was. So next is my works in progress. My first one is kind of a fail, and I'm kind of sad about it because I dyed this yarn myself last winter, I think. Last fall, I wanted Christmas yarn, but I didn't want to pay like $27 a skein for a Christmas yarn, so I decided to go to Joann's. And Joann's at the time, the Serenity sock, they were changing the labels, I think that's why, because they came back with the same yarn, but it was on clearance for $2.50 a ball. So I bought 4 of the white, and I think I bought the gray that you just saw, and another navy blue that you saw, and then like a navy blue, I think about 6 or 7 skeins, and 4 white ones, so I could dye them myself. And they come in 50-gram balls, the Serenity sock. So I took white, and I did a pair of Christmas socks that I dyed. I think I dyed 2. So I'm gonna put those pictures in here and here, and hopefully I did that right. So for these socks, I dyed them white, and I was trying to do like a speckled look, but I ended up dropping the food coloring on the yarn, because I don't know if you know that you can dye wool yarn with food coloring and Kool-Aid. So I did it with food coloring. So the first solid color I tried to do was this red. Whoa, that's very bright red. But is this red that I did. And I did a full green because one of the skeins had a knot. So I just took 25 and 25, and I did green, and I did red, and I figured I could use those for heels and toes, which this is all that I have left of the red, I think. And then I did this. And this skein had, and usually the Serenity sock doesn't have many knots, but this one had like snags in it, and it had knots. It had 2 knots and a snag. So I have 3 different balls of this. And then, so I started knitting it up on my usual pattern. So I did the toe, and I increased to 60 stitches. And then I started knitting with this green and red. But you see how it's pooling? So on one side, it has nothing. There's no red at all. And then on this side is the red that's, I don't know, pooling. And then I figured that it's gonna spiral around my foot, and I don't think that I like that. So as you can see, it's starting to go to the back. Up here, it was starting to go to the back. And I don't think I like that. No, I don't. And I don't like that there's so many balls, that I have like three different balls to make one pair of sock. So I'm gonna have to sew in all these ends from the toe, the heel, the sock that I have to add the other ball into, and the cuff, because I did the cuff in the red too. I don't know. I'm not happy about it. So I put it down, I took the needle out, and I was like, I'll think about it. I wish, kinda, that it was just all green. And I have 2 skeins, I think 2 skeins left of the Serenity sock. So I think I can, or 1 skein left. I can just do it all green, and then it'll really look cute with the, but I also have stroll yarn, Knit Pick Stroll Heathers in a green and a red that I wanted to do red heel, toe, but I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. But coming to that, it is Christmas in July. Right now it is July 24th, and I have decided that I'm gonna do Christmas in July. So I started 3 pairs of Christmas socks. I think I'm only gonna, including the one that's a fail. So I don't think I'm gonna finish those or even work on those for the rest of because I only have a week left until July is over. So the first pair of Christmas socks is this one. This is West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply in the Holly Berry colorway, which every year they come out with a Christmas themed color. I have done the other two. One was a candy cane, another one was a fairy lights color. I might pop in those pictures up here too. And then so on the West Yorkshire Spinners, I did on a size 1 on a 60 with 64 stitches. The size 1 is a 2.25 millimeter needle. And so I start with 12 again, but I increase to 64 stitches. And then for this, I do 75 rows. And then the fish lips kiss heel with the other side of the ball, because I don't like, with the Christmas socks, I don't like messing up the progression of the stripes. So like so on here, like on this one, I didn't care that the stripes got messed up. You see, like the progression of the stripes, because this one has no rhyme or reason. I don't think it doesn't look like it does. So for this one, I take, I knit from the inside of the ball right here. Yeah. So for this one, I knit from the inside of the ball like that, and then when I do the heel, I knit from the outside. I knit the heel from the outside so it doesn't mess up the progression. So that's that one, and then I finish this one and I bound off, and then I will have to start this one. Today I'll probably start the other sock. And then my other Christmas socks, which isn't technically a Christmas sock, this is King Cole Zigzag, yeah, which is from England. I got this from the woolwarehouse.uk.com. I bought this with Drops Fable because they were having a really big sale in, I think it was in November of last year. Yeah, November of last year, they were having a really big sale. So this was like $5 for this big skein, and you can tell the difference. Like this is 100 grams and this is 100 grams, and that is a big difference, from like this one, which looks closer. But this is very thick. It kind of reminds me of Patton's Croy. So for this one, and this is called the summer colorway, which to me, it doesn't look summery at all. It looks Christmassy, and I will show you that now. So I think this looks very Christmassy. I think it might be like watermelon like. I don't know, but to me that looks like Christmas, except for the pink. The pink is not really. So I was supposed to start at the pink, but I cut it off and I started at this, and I thought that this was one repeat from pink to pink, but it doesn't look like it is because this is different than down here. So I don't really know what's going on with this sock, but I like it a lot. I like the way it looks. Like I was saying, it reminds me of Patton's Croy, and it's thicker than other yarns that I've used. So for this one, I did it on, it's still on 2.5 millimeter needles, but I went down to 56 stitches. I was doing 60 like I usually do on the 2.5 millimeter needles, but I got to, I think, here, and it looked huge. So I tried it on my foot, and there was a lot of room. So I switched to, so I went back to the toe and did 56 stitches instead of 60, and then I did it again. So I've had a couple of fails, 2 fails, since the last time I podcast. So that's that. And then the second thing, so the last thing I need to talk about is things that I've received. So I did a swap with Barbara from the Knitting I Love podcast, and she lives in Ireland, and so I sent her leftovers that I had, and she sent me leftovers, and we're gonna do leftover socks. So from her I received 3 20-gram skeins, and this one is so pretty. I love this one. This one is Drops Fable, and then this one I had it's called Jeweled Wings. So pretty. I love this one a lot. It's from Knitology, And then this one, oh gosh, is, I don't know what yarn this is. I didn't look it up. And this is just a really, really pretty blue. And if you don't know, blue is my favorite color. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with these because they're 20 grams each. So I think that they're enough. 60 grams is enough for me to do one pair of socks usually. But I could do two. I could do a shorty pair of socks. I could use this for heels and toes, which I think I'm gonna do. Use this for heels and toes. And then put like a solid pink maybe with it. I don't know. Maybe solid yellow. I think that's really pretty. And then I went to a knitting event called Stitch Together. It's put on by Squam Love, I think that's what it's called. And it was in Providence, Rhode Island. And I was very excited because I got to meet Gigi made it, Brandy, oh my God, I don't remember her last name. Lady Dye Yarns, and one of the runners of Squam, and it was such a great day. I also went with some members of my knitting group, and if you haven't noticed, I talk about my knitting group a lot because they're such a great group of people. I have never felt like I didn't belong, and I go to knitting quite a bit, and I always talk about the people from my knitting group. And the funny thing is like we barely talk about knitting when we go to knitting group. We talk about our lives and our families and our friends and work. And they're just such a great group of people. So if you continue to watch this podcast, I will talk about my knitting group quite a bit because they have an effect on my life. A lot of the people in my family and a lot of the friends I've had don't knit and don't really get my obsession. They take the projects that I make them they take it, and they're all pretty knit worthy, but they don't really get it like other knitters do. And my knitting group is just full of just such interesting, funny, kind people. So I went with them, and they gave us like free yarn. So Pearl Soho sponsored it, and Gigi Made It sponsored it, and oh my God, the Woolly Thistle. There was a goodie bags when you leave, which I wasn't expecting because it was a free event. So I just was like, I'm here to listen to people talk and to learn and hopefully have a good experience, which it was a wonderful experience. And I mentioned that I worked third shift. So I worked and then I went to this event. So I had no sleep, and it was still amazing, and I didn't feel tired at all. Granted, I did have coffee and an energy drink, but they just held my attention, and such smart people and such lovely people that I don't think I'll forget it. It was so great. So they gave you yarn, and because Gigi Made It was there, I don't know if you're watching this and you don't know who Gigi Made It is, she is a knitter and a podcaster and a yarn hoe is what she says. And she has her own podcast on YouTube, and she's on Instagram. She has like 20-something thousand followers. And she's just an inspiration to me. She's a little bit older than me, but she's smart and she has so much wisdom, and she says things so eloquently and better than I could. So hopefully I can just say the things the way she does. And so I picked orange because orange is her favorite color, and I thought I painted my nails to match, and I wore an orange shirt. Like, I wanted to be there with purpose. So I picked orange to go, and then they also gave you like a little mini, so I picked blue, and I think I might do, I don't know, like a shawl or a cowl. And this is from Pearl Soho. It's linen. It's 50% Highland wool, alpaca, and linen. So that's that one. And then I have this little mini. So I think I might do a shawl with it. I don't know yet. I don't know if they really go, but I think they're pretty together. So I might just like do the shawl and then put the mini at the end, so that's what you see when you wrap it around. But I really like it a lot. So that is everything. Today I talked a lot. So my future projects will just be finishing those 2 Christmas socks, because I want to finish my Christmas in July socks. And I think that's it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you please like so more people can find me, and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.